Hi everyone, welcome back to the Rangers review. Rangers nil, Falkirk nil. Blair, we said this might be coming yesterday when we did our Saturday show. What a drab game of football.
Yeah.
What a team that have a load of issues, and the most succinct way to sum it up for me was it looked like a mid-table team. For Falkirk, that's brilliant because they've just come up and they're sitting, 1 or 2 points behind Rangers. For Rangers,
Yeah, we spoke to John McGlynn in the press conference just about 10 minutes before we were recording this video. He said that he left a little bit frustrated that Falkirk didn't win, and I think he was absolutely spot on. Falkirk probably could have and should have won that game. I think I said it in the show the other day that we did. Rangers are not a very good football team, and I think that has been absolutely bore fruit today. You look at that side, the defence, alright, they did keep a clean sheet today, the first for a number of months here at Ibrox, I believe. They looked calamitous at times. They looked as though they're a basket case at the back. They just look totally, their nerves are shot to absolute pieces. Anytime Falkirk really attacked them, you've seen Jack Butland flap a couple of times, Nasser Giga, Emmanuel Fernandez similarly. Max Aarons didn't really offer a lot going forward, nor did they really offer much defensively either. But that wasn't the main problem today, Josh. The main problem today was the fact that Rangers have zero creativity in this team. We spoke about it at length, the fact that this side aren't creating chances, they're not creating big chances, and the players that were in today were given an opportunity and they didn't take it. Danny Rule changed his front four completely from the Braga game and came Oliver Antman, Telo Asgard, Bojan Majowski up front. It just didn't work. Telo Asgard created nothing. Oliver Antman created nothing. Nadim Bajrami probably looked the brightest out of all of them. He had the closest of what you can maybe term chances, but just a nothing afternoon again at Ibrox.
yeah, nothing afternoon is a way to sum it up. And I actually thought that defensively they were all right. I thought Giga was better, if I'm honest. He had that moment with Butland where Rangers nearly conceded for him, which is calamitous. I thought Fernandez was all right. But I agree with you in that although Falkirk didn't have a load of opportunities, it again felt like if you're watching this game, it suits the visitors will be more happy with how the flow of the game is going. Much like Livingston last week, the way that Falkirk were able to just break up the pitch with ease, break through Rangers press with ease, that's the type of thing that even poorer teams and Rangers teams in seasons gone by, there wouldn't have been that level of comfort for the opposition. But I think you're right to say the main focus is creativity. Rangers ended the game with 3 shots on target. I think their expected goals tally will actually be okay because of that Bayrami chance that kind of hit off him after Gassama's shot was saved. But it's a false positive. It's not real because they could have played for a long time and not scored. And the most damning indictment of that for me was at the end, there was no siege mentality from Falkirk. There was no siege to defend their box. There was no siege on the Falkirk goal from Rangers because they couldn't sustain pressure and they just can't create chances. They can't.
If we look at those, a callback to our last show, those race charts that you brought up with the indents that show really good opportunities, there's not many of them today. There's not many. That the only real opportunity that Rangers probably should have scored from is that Bayrami chance where Gassama breaks through, he cuts inside, which, by the way, he seems to do all the time. I think players are becoming a bit wise to the fact that JD Gassama just gets forward, cuts back in, and then takes a shot on. He hits the goalkeeper, it's palmed out. Nadim Bajrami probably should finish it off. The ball's coming at him quickly. He's running onto it. It doesn't quite work out, and again, that's probably symptomatic of Rangers in general, just having zero cutting edge. There's one in the first half where he has that effort where he curls it wide, and then Connor Barron has a tame effort towards goal. But that's really all I can remember Rangers really bringing to the party. I think Telo Asgard and Oliver Antman, Danny Rule was asked in the press conference about players. Are you getting frustrated with players? Are you losing patience? Are they using up their lives, so to speak, with getting opportunities in this team? And I think that, for me, that speaks directly to Oliver Antman and Telo Asgard, because those two players today were given an opportunity from the start. They were given a chance to go and show what they can do, and they just didn't take it. Again, I think I hate to see players scapegoated. I don't like to see them, the fans totally turning on them. But you look at Oliver Antman and you're just thinking, what are you bringing to the party? Because he's not attacking the line, he's not putting crosses in, he's not taking shots on, he's covering a lot of ground, he's running, he's moving, but he's not creating any sort of chances. And the same with Telo Asgard. There's so many times today where you can see that Telo Asgard quite obviously has technical ability, right? He can get the ball, he can go past 2 or 3 men, he's got a good touch, but then it just runs down a blind alley so many times, and then
Or it goes backwards.
Oh yeah, or it goes backwards, which is, if you watch the Danny Rose press conference, what he keeps saying is there was 3 or 4 opportunities where we were okay, now we can go and hurt them, and then they turn back, and that is exactly what frustrates the fans here. It was another irate Ibrox today. When these events were taking place, when these chances were happening or not being made. And then that brings me on to Majowski up front, who, when he was at Aberdeen, he was never the most all-rounded player with his back to goal anyway. He was always on the shoulder, running over the top. But there's just nothing here. There's no chances for him. I can't remember the last time Bojan Majowski had a shot in a Rangers jersey. Yeah. It seems like you've got a centre forward there who has got 0 service, and
but he's also not helping the ball. Like, there was a moment like 2 or 3 minutes into the game where he had a simple pass with his back to goal, to his left back, and he completely fluffed it. So for me, again, it's this thing we're talking about on Saturday, where it's chicken and egg. It's like, is the fault that Bojan Majowski is not getting opportunities his fault or the team's fault? It's both. Yeah. He's not doing enough to get the team forward. Yeah. There's not enough pure chances for him aside from that.
He's not holding the ball up quickly enough for any of his teammates to get in support of him. Everything is so rushed in the final third. Everything is so panicky. And that's probably the best word I can use to describe the whole team. It's panicky. You look, when things come in at the back, everybody gets nervous. When things are through midfield, they try and move it quickly. They end up hitting the wrong man or running into a blind channel. When it's up front, snatching at things hitting off people, there's no composure in the team. There's no composure anywhere. And for me, that can only be addressed in January. That can only be that. I don't think that exists in the changing room currently. I don't think you have any player in there right now who can actually put their foot in the ball and calm things down. I don't think that exists. So I think you need to go out in January. You need to sign, as well as technically proficient players, you need to sign the players with the right character. That when times are tough, when times are difficult, actually being able to have the
cognitive,
actually have the thought process, and not just to rush everything because they feel under pressure, because they feel like, I need to score here because they're forcing it too much, because this is such a cauldron, especially when things aren't going well.
It's easier said than done in January, isn't it? The show that we did, and people can still go, it's actually more relevant now than ever, that we did on Saturday, which was looking at those underlying numbers. Rangers' expected goals in open play has been lower than Falkirk's. That's what you saw today. Even though Falkirk didn't create a ton, Rangers' expected goals difference has been basically nil. Like the difference between the chances they're creating and the chances they're conceding, the quality of those per 90 is basically stark in the middle. I can rarely remember watching any Rangers team who create as little as this.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah, literally
ever.
Yeah.
And that, for me, if we move on a little bit, obviously the big news here this week from Monday, and that we've spoken extensively about since, is Andrew Kavanagh flying in on Sunday night, sacking his CEO, sacking his sporting director. And afternoon like this, for me, is why, Blair? Because there's so much apathy, and apathy should not have existed in this football club after the excitement of that takeover. But it was irate, but it was also apathetic again today, wasn't it? Because you're looking at it now, and Rangers are 4th. Motherwell are a better football team than Rangers at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hibs are a point behind them. Falkirk are 2 points behind them. There's not really a question.
There's just a venting into the wind. It's frustration, and I think it's why you see so much of a clamour for Finlay Curtis. Yeah. Not just because Finlay Curtis can score goals or has potential to score goals, because it's something to hold on to. It's something for the fans to get on board with, even if it's intangible. It's just something to try and get excited by. There's nothing to get excited by on that part today. You look at the starting 11, there's no one that excites you, there's no match winners, and when it is so dull and it is so boring, and the players are making attempt runs and then they just run into trouble, or they try and take someone on and then they turn back, it frustrates the fans, because we analyse football to death. That's what we do for a living. But sometimes we forget that this is supposed to be entertaining. Fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that people come to for a little bit of escapism from modern world. And they're coming here and they're bored, they're frustrated, and they're watching something that just isn't enjoyable to be a part of. And you'll see that come to pass with the attendances. You'll see that come to pass with people taking up European packages, with buying shirts. It emanates through the whole club when there isn't an excitement on the park. People just don't engage with the club anymore. And for Andrew Kavanagh, a guy who has purchased this club 6 months ago, to have a fan base and a customer base, let's put it frankly the way he'll look at this, to have a customer base that is quickly disengaging with the product must be seriously alarming for him. Must be seriously alarming. So he himself, for his own good as well as Rangers, he knows he has to fix this.
So many decisions in the summer, just coming back to bite doesn't even begin to cover it. Before we finish, because we're obviously going to speak in the morning with Derek, who I'm sure will have not watched that very calmly this afternoon.
He was here today, actually.
He was, he was. He was. Oof. Interested to see what he makes of it. Danny Rule, I said on after Thursday that Rule, he kind of almost felt like a bit of a bystander. I wasn't here, I was watching it on the telly, and just the fact that it was so much about Thelwell and Stewart and recruitment and the players, and not necessarily the head coach. But Rangers aren't creating much under him. I thought the team was a bit weird today, the fact that you had two right footers on the right and two right footers on the left. I thought Barami was crying out to play with a Magoma who could overlap and provide some width. I thought Gassama is so ineffectual on the right, and he's the one player, he's got the game breaking ability on the left to just chop inside and shoot. Those two chances he's had for me this week and last week against Livingston in the same kind of position on the right side of the pitch, if they're on the left, he scores those because it's more natural for him. Did you think there was a few weird aspects of the team selection, or is it just a case of it's still too hard to judge Rule? But I guess we've got to.
We do to an extent, but I don't think there is much to be gained from judging Danny Rule at this point, because these aren't his players. He's working with limited tools, and I think you have to give him a bit of an opportunity, because I do think he has something. I think he has shown more in how many games, 6-7 games now, than we've seen from Russell Martin at all across this whole tenure. So I definitely do think that there is something there that Rangers fans can grab a hold of in terms of Danny Rule going forward. The recruitment in January is going to be massive in terms of how he imprints himself onto this team, because I think trying to do that with the players he's got just now, and also he's given these players the opportunity to prove themselves one way or the other. He can't make a judgment on these players without playing them, and sometimes that is going to result in difficult afternoons where he sees a player and goes, he's just not good enough. He's not going to do for me, and he's not going to figure that out really unless he gets played. So I'm willing to give him more of a bit of a grace period. I do appreciate that you have to be critical. You have to ask him the tricky questions, because he can't get a pass all the time, because I can't get a pass just on the fact that he's new in the door and that's Russell Martin's team, because any Rangers 11, especially the one that's spent this amount of money, should be, if not beating Falkirk 9 times out of 10, should be creating a hell of a lot more chances against Falkirk than they did today. And that's no disrespect to Falkirk, who came here. They weren't quite as free-flowing and open as that usual brand of football that they have. They were a bit more functional today. They were a bit more sat and they were soaking up the pressure a little bit. Calvin Miller playing on the shoulder, hitting Rangers on the break. And I think what we talk about, this point that you've made quite a lot over the last few weeks, of Rangers not having a floor. Falkirk have a floor. Falkirk have a foundation. They have something to build on, and you've seen exactly what Falkirk were all about. Even when they're not playing at their very best, at their free-flowing best, they still have a revert to type, and we know we can come to places like this and get a result. Rangers don't have that. Rangers are all over the place, and they look like 11 guys who've never played together before, even at this stage of the season.
We'll leave it there then. Rangers remain fourth, I think, in the Scottish Premiership after they drew 1-1 at home to Falkirk. We will have loads more coverage this week. The tricky tests of Dundee United and Kilmarnock for Rangers to come, so it doesn't get any easier for Danny Rule. He's unbeaten in the Scottish Premiership. However, that winning run comes to an end, and plenty of issues that are not going away for Rangers. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Bye for now.